and I are praying for a breakthrough, let's be careful that we're not actually seeking to break through the boundaries that Yah himself has set for us. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, day number 3 of the Torah portion of Vayikra, which translated means, and he called. That is, Yah is calling to us through these particular offerings. Someone would say, I just don't believe you have to do all of that. When you tell them, I follow the Torah, I seek to keep the commands. When we ask the investigating question and response, exactly what is it that you don't think we have to do? Should we not keep the 10 Commandments and love Yah first and foremost? Well, yes. What about lying and stealing and envying and committing adultery and honoring your parents? Well, yes, we should keep all of those. Well, what is it that you don't want to do that the Torah requires us to do? Why all those sacrifices? Well, number one, we do not have a temple with an altar that has been dedicated to Yah. Neither do we have a Levitical priesthood authorized and in position currently with an altar to serve to present those offerings. So those offerings are not viable, or they're not legally presented. That's the better way to say that. They don't have an operation at the moment. In the kingdom, things will change. But for now, we can't offer these offerings. And the Torah forbids us from creating a backyard altar of our own making and being our own priest and doing our own thing. Yah will not accept that. Then there's the argument that these offerings are in competition to Yeshua and what he has done on the tree. Since Yeshua has died for us, these are no longer necessary. And that's another teaching. This suffices to say that the offerings made on an altar of animals, they do not compete with Yeshua. They reveal Yeshua. Again, another teaching, another time. More on that later on. So, let's continue on then with the second style or type of animal that is to be presented on the altar, a bakar. This is a reference to animals that are in a herd. This can represent cattle. It can be oxen. It can represent the idea of offering a heifer, such as in the red heifer. The animal represents here by its name or type, bakar, that which tries to break through. It is spelled in the Hebrew as a beit, a kof, a resh. Those same 3 letters also spell the word boker. That is, as we say, boker tov, or good morning. It's really the good breaking through. That is, the sun's rays have broken through and light is now upon us. So day has come. Both words then, from their root, a bet, a kof, and a resh, give us the idea that which breaks through or cleaves open. Cattle know no boundaries. If there's not a fence to prevent them from doing so, they will just continue to graze into someone else's field. They don't recognize boundary lines. So to offer the bakar in us, to lay that on the altar as it represents who we are, it is to yield over to him our desire to move his boundaries. Ever since Yah set up boundaries, all the way back in Bereshit or Genesis chapter number 1, and then again in chapter number 2, you may eat freely of all things in the garden except for that tree. And it would seem that in very short order, we're not told how long it took, but probably not very long, the deceptive lies began to be sown by the serpentine spirit. And Chava began to eye the tree that Yah says, my boundary is around this tree. It's not kosher for you. You're not permitted to eat from this. And she began to want to push against those boundaries. Ever since that day, that moment, mankind has been pushing against the boundaries of Yah. Yah wants his people to be righteous. His people want to flirt with the line of unrighteousness. Yah wants his people to be loving and forgiving. We try to do so, but then there's that other guy, that one person that just rubs me the wrong way. Yah wants his people to be a giving people, but I need to survive. I need to hold on to that. I may need that. And so we begin to justify what it is that we want to do against the rule and the way of Yah. Yah has set his boundaries. It has set his boundaries very firmly. Yah says that he created mankind as male and female. Well, that boundary is being toyed with in our societies the world over, currently as I speak, and we're trying to invent neutral genders, and you can be any gender that you can imagine. The marital boundaries, well, adultery plays against that. Homosexuality plays against that. Man wants to create and move beyond the boundaries that Yah has established and create his own. So boundaries teach us propriety. They teach us restraint. And there is the joy of knowing that inside the boundaries of Yah that he has established, there is plenty of room for a joyful, exhilarating, exciting, wonderful, fulfilling life. There is no shortage of laughter and health and strength and relationship and meaning in life, all within the boundaries of Yah, where he has said, all things here are good for you. Why man is not willing to remain within those boundaries? Again, we go back to the serpentine lies, and we have been deceived that the grass is always greener on the other side of that fence, Yah's fence. So as we come before him then to the altar of sacrifice, we lay our bakar, we lay our mentality of wanting to break the boundaries on this altar, and we transform it. It's not just that those things are consumed, but again, they're transformed. The idea here is then that this propensity that man has for wanting to push against the boundaries, we transform that then into seeking to break through spiritual barriers. We began to war against principalities and powers, dominions and mights, and the spiritual wickedness in high places, the darkness that seeks to overcome Yeshua's light. We seek then to break through for opportunity to see the kingdom come into a community or into a group of people, into a city or a state. We push and strive to break down spiritual strongholds. And we war against those walls that we have by our environment and our experience built up in our minds and our hearts and our spirits that limit us and our interaction with Yah. We seek to break through barriers of false teaching, false understanding, life teachings. We talk about life as a great teacher, but life oftentimes teaches us the wrong thing. And so we break through those. Our tendency then to operate outside the boundaries that Yah has established, we learn to live within those, but the altar enables us to transform boundary breaking into barrier breaking, piercing the darkness and overcoming. The word korban, let's finish with this. The word korban is different in the idea of offering and sacrifice. Offering, we open up our wallet, we make a choice, we put something in the plate, we bring it to him. A sacrifice, we look and see, I can't afford to give this, but I will. Korban is different than both of those things. The word korban means drawing near. So when it says we bring our korban of ourselves, we do this to draw near. So I lay my boundary breaking down on the altar, that I may pierce through my personal barriers, that I may draw near to you. Yeshua is the means of our drawing near. He is our korban. We'll finish with Son tomorrow on these. Until then, shalom.